In this video we're going to take a look at solutions to Algebra Revision 8, and the first question here is the square root of x plus 3 is equal to 4. So what we're being asked to do here is find x, or solve for x. So I want to get rid of that square root, and how do I undo a square root? I do the opposite, which is square it. So I'm going to square both sides here, because whatever I do to one side of an equation I have to do to the other. That then leaves me with x plus 3 is equal to 4 squared, which is going to give me 16. And then I'm going to get x on its own, so I'm going to have to subtract 3 from both sides. So I get x is equal to 13 for the first question. Now, the next question. Again, another square root, and we're being asked to find x. So I need to undo that square root. So what I need to do here is square both sides. And if I do that, the square root and square undo each other. So we're just left with 3x minus 2 is equal to 5x minus 4, all squared. And that squared then is going to give me 25 x squared minus twice the product. The product would be minus 20x. Twice that is minus 40x. And then plus 4 squared minus 4 squared, which is plus 16, is equal to 3x minus 2. Now what I'm going to do here is bring everything over to one side, and how I know I need to do that is because this is lining up to look like a quadratic, and if it's a quadratic we usually want it to equal 0 so we can solve it. So if I subtract 3x from both sides, I'll be left with 25x squared minus 43x plus 16, and I'm going to actually add the 2 to this side as well, so 16 plus 2 gives me 18. And now it's all equal to 0, and I can solve that as a quadratic. And then what I'm going to be able to do is break that into the factors. Now it's not an easy one. You could use the minus b formula to do this, but you can factorize it out using your factors like this. So what I'm going to get here is 1 and 18, and I'm going to be targeting minus 43, and because that's a minus and this is a plus, both signs here are going to be a minus. And my way of checking to see if I'm on the right track with these factors is to do out by out. So 25x by minus 1 is minus 25x, minus 18 by x minus 18x. Add those two together and we do get minus 43x, so we're on the right track. Now at this stage I have two brackets multiplied by each other and they give me 0. The only way I can multiply two numbers and get 0 is if one or both is equal to 0. So 25x minus 18 is 0, or x minus 1 is equal to 0. And then here I'm going to get 25x is equal to 18, x is equal to 18 over 25, or x is equal to 1. And there's the two solutions in that scenario for that question. The next one, I already have it written in here before the question was, let's just reverse this. The question was the square root of 6x plus 4 take away 1 is equal to the square root of 3x plus 1. And what you saw that we need to do is you need to square it to get rid of that. Now when you square the other side, that is one single entity. They all go together in a bracket and we square it. Now that makes it a little bit complicated when we do square it out. We're going to get 6x plus 4 twice the product, so minus 2 times the square root of 6x plus 4 plus 1 is equal to 3x plus 1, because the square root and the square undo each other. Now this is not very easy to do, so what I'm going to do is bring all of my surds or my squares to one side, square roots to one side, everything else to the other. So I'm going to have 2 root 6x plus 4 on the right hand side, and I'm going to bring these ones over. So I've got 6x plus 4 plus 1 minus 3x minus 3x minus 1 when I bring that over. Okay, so all I've done there is swap them and bring that over. So minus 3x minus 1, and then add this to both sides. Now tidying that up, I'm going to get 3x, and then plus 4 plus 1 is 5, take away 1, that's plus 4, is equal to 2, and then it's going to be this. Now again, what I'm going to need to do here is square both sides. Now I'm going to be careful because it's actually got a 2 in front of it this time when I square both sides. So squaring this side first, I'm going to get 9x squared twice the product is 12x, twice that is 24x, then square the 4, which is plus 16, and then I'm going to have is equal to, and then it's going to be, now what rule I'm using here and going to use here is from the indices chapter, where it says if you have something like this, it's a squared b squared. So that's what I'm going to do here. I have to square the 2, so I'm going to get 4, and that's where that's coming from. I had to square the 2. And then the square root squared is just going to be 6x plus 4, like that. And then from here, I'm going to multiply that out. So I'm going to get 24x plus 16, and then we had our 9x squared plus 24x plus 16 there. And then I'm going to take away 24x from both sides, and it just so happens to drop out to 0, and then take away 16 from both sides, and then I'm left with 9x squared is equal to 0, and then what I need to think about then is, okay, if 9 times x squared is 0, what does that mean that x has to be? X squared is 0, and therefore x is 0 in that scenario. So that one, a little bit of a catch, because that had to go in a bracket together, because it's this equal to all of that, so that's one single entity, so we put brackets around it and square it like that. The next one then, I'm going to move it up just so we have a little bit more space. So the next one is going to be question 4, and it's the modulus of x plus 1 is equal to 10. Now the modulus of x plus 1 is equal to 10 can be rewritten as x plus 1 it's equal to plus 10, or x plus 1 is equal to minus 10, and that's got to do with the modulus here. Now there's a long way and a short way you can do it. This is the short way, and it's just thinking about it could be plus that or minus that, and in this scenario then I'm going to get x is equal to 9, or I'm going to get x is equal to minus 11. All I've done there is subtracted minus 1, or subtracted 1 from both sides. And finally then, for question 5, we had 2 times the modulus of x plus 1 is equal to 4. So the first move here I would do is divide both sides by 2, and then you're going to get x plus 1 is going to be equal to 2. And then again, because it's the modulus, you can say that x plus 1 is equal to positive 2, or it's equal to negative 2. And that again is a property of the modulus. And there is a long way you can do it and work out why it is plus or minus that. But this is the nice and short way of doing that. So then I'm going to take away 1 from both sides, and I'm going to get x is equal to 1, minus 1 from both sides, and then x is equal to minus 3. And that's that for the modulus questions.